Hello, and welcome to Baking with Wyatt. Today we're going to be making a sweet focaccia bread. So your first step is to mix two teaspoons of dried yeast and 4 tablespoons of warm water in a bowl. So you are going to let this foam for about 5 minutes, stirring maybe once or twice. Okay, next we're going to take 2.5 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of salt, kosher salt. Mix this in, and we're kind of just going to mix this together. Alright, you're going to make a well in the center, and we are, make a well in the center, and I'm using, what's the name of the seasoning? Cranberry apple seasoning to give it a bit of a sweet bread taste. So you're going to add a cranberry apple seasoning. You can also use chopped rosemary for that. That is what the original recipe suggests. So you are going to add your rosemary, 4 tablespoons of oil. Oh god, I'm trying to find my tablespoon. Alright, so you're going to mix 4 tablespoons of olive oil. With 1 cup of lukewarm water. You have to make sure you let your yeast sit for as long as the recipe suggests it should, or else your yeast won't activate properly. Alright, so our yeast mixture should be ready to add. Alright, so we are kind of just going to mix this for a little bit. Oh, it's so sticky. It's so sticky. You will have dough permanently stuck to your hands for the rest of your life after you make this. Alright, so now that my dough is kneaded into a silky smooth ball, we are going to, let's see, we're going to place this in an oiled bowl, which I have ready. Place this in an oiled bowl.
Which oil it with?
Olive oil. Cover with a damp kitchen towel. Hold this around until our kitchen towel is slightly damp.
Is it damp?
Yeah, it's damp. We are going to cover this, and we're going to let this rise for 1 to 1.5 hours, or until your dough has doubled in size. It will double in size because of your yeast. Your yeast is going to cause your dough to be rising. So we're going to let this rise in a warm place for 1 to 1.5 hours.
Perfect.
And now I've got to clean everything up.
And while it rises, you're going to do
Clean everything else up.
do the dishes.
I don't want to do the dishes.
Oh, you...
Okay, so our dough has been rising, and it definitely made a large expansion, much bigger than it was before. Okay, so now we are going to knead our dough again to attempt to knock out the air in our dough. Alright, that's all you need to do. Alright, so once you've kneaded your dough, we're gonna let this rise. We're gonna put this here, cover with a kitchen towel. This is the clay garnish. Cover this with a kitchen towel, and we're just gonna let this sit for 5 minutes to rise again, I guess. I don't really know. Alright, so then we are going to take our baking sheet. And we are going to take our second. We're going to take our wait one second, I can't find it. So once you have your brush, you should have a bit of remaining oil from earlier. So then you're going to just take your brush and just brush your pan with oil. That is done. You just have to wait for the dough to rise. Okay, so I just took my dough out. I just uncovered my dough. It's been about 5 minutes. And my next step is you're just going to take your dough, put it in your oiled pan, and you're just going to try and spread it out evenly across the pan. Alright, okay. So now that my focaccia is spread out, you're going to cover it again for the third time. And you're going to let it sit for another 45 minutes. Cover this. Let this sit in a warm spot for another 45 minutes. Alright, so my bread has been sitting for 45 minutes in a warm place. So your next step is going to be make dimples in your bread. Make sure to make lots of deep dimples in your bread with your fingers. Okay, so once that is done, you're going to sprinkle with your toppings. I'm also going to drizzle a bit of oil over top of mine, just to allow some of my toppings to stick. Okay, so first I'm going to use some of the seasoning I put in my dough at the beginning, mixed with a bit of cinnamon, a bit of ground cinnamon. Just sprinkle this. I'm gonna do some freshly picked rosemary leaves. Alright, and then I have some chopped apples here that I'm just going to lay my focaccia bread. Okay, so all my apples are evenly distributed across my bread. Just move these two in closer a bit. Alright, so once that is done, you're going to make sure to push them in. Alright, so once that is done, you're going to take your focaccia and I gotta wait for the oven to preheat. So you're going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And once your focaccia is ready and you have made your toppings on it, you're going to cook it in your or bake it in your oven for 15 to 20 minutes. So I've got to wait for this to preheat. I've got a lot of dishes to wash.